War is not just a battle of two armies, but a true battle between military commanders of the countries in conflict. So Alexei Reznikov, the Minister of Defense of Ukraine, is against the Minister of Defense of Russia, Sergei Shoigu. Who are these people on the opposite sides of the front who are in charge of the largest confrontation on the planet in the 21st century? Who will win and why? Watch this now. The Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Alexei Reznikov, wanted to become an animator in his childhood, to live happy and to enjoy life. But he became a true Minister of Defense of a country at war. The enemy's plans are broken. The whole world sees it and is trying to acknowledge the changes. He has 2 years of army service behind him, but his colleague in rank, Sergei Shoigu, has never even served a day in the army. While Alexei Yuryevich served in the USSR Air Forces in the middle of the 80s, Sergei Kuzhagetovich worked as a foreman in the city of Abakan, 5,000 kilometers from Moscow. But that's not by far the only difference between the ministers. The Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Reznikov, is a master of sports of Ukraine and an extreme motorsports champion. I love extreme sports very much. I'm an avid mountain skier. I love diving. I've skydived in my life, auto racing, motorsports. In between visits to the front, the minister, virtuoso full of life, is performing a tango. The Minister of Defense, Shoigu, also has hobbies, but strange ones. Rather, occult. Sergei Kuzhagetovich loves death, not life. In February of 2019, by the order of Sergei Shoigu, Buryatia shamans burned 5 camels alive. The bureaucrat relies on mysticism. He genuinely believes he's a shaman and builds Russia's sacred sites from Hitler's tanks. We took tracks of German tanks, and they're now part of the stairs in the composite metal. Coming up the stairs of this church, we walk over the weapons of the defeated enemy. In the 90s, Alexei Yuryevich Reznikov graduated from law school. Ahead of him, he had a successful career in law for many years. At the time of the Orange Revolution, Alexei Reznikov was one of those who displayed true professionalism. The current Minister of Defense succeeded in court to get the revote of the second round of elections. Then Viktor Yushchenko became the president. I believe it's the best, the most emotional, the most complex, and the most important case of my life. It was an unprecedented Supreme Court ruling where at the core of the decision was the command of the law. In those same 90s, Sergei Shoigu arrived to conquer Moscow, straight from the construction site. He first gets a post of the Chief of the Ministry of Emergencies and Disaster Relief. The world lives by the concept of people voluntarily providing security to their own towns. The government's role is to give them such an opportunity. He is at the roots of Putin's United Russia Party. In 2012, he is elected a governor of Moscow Federal District, and in a few months, he becomes the Minister of Defense. If we didn't fight, we wouldn't have such victims. If we weren't going to war, we wouldn't have nuclear weapons. All would have been different. So far, Shoigu is just increasing the military spending and effectively demonstrating military exercises to Putin. Alexei Reznikov is just starting his political career. He becomes a representative of Kyiv Council and the advisor to Kyiv's mayor Vitaly Klitschko. He was the organizer of a unique and modern world-class show, Eurovision 2017. He also successfully organized the League of Champions of UEFA. In 2020, Reznikov becomes the Vice Prime Minister of Ukraine and is in charge of Donbas recovery, as well as assisting millions of refugees. Friends, Donetsk and Lugansk regions are so heavily mined now that it would take a minimum of 25 years to clean it up. I tell the farmer whose field is mined, I'm sorry, but it will take a while before you can tend to your harvest. We need to find an alternative. In November of 2021, Alexei Reznikov takes the post of the Minister of Defense of Ukraine. The Ukrainian people can be confident in their army. And this confidence is transferred from Reznikov to all the Ukrainians. Despite Russia starting a full large-scale war against Ukraine on the 24th of February, the Ukrainian army impresses the whole world. And here in the midst of war, Alexei Reznikov and Sergei Shoigu literally got in front of each other face to face. Who is mightier, the army of the Ukrainian minister or that of the Russian antagonist? Since the beginning of the large-scale war against Ukraine, the Ukrainian army annihilated 28,000 Russian soldiers. Sergei Kuzhagetovich sent soldiers to kill Ukrainians in carton vests with expired food rations. It's no good. Expired in 15. In the meantime, the Minister of Defense, Alexei Reznikov, provides the newest weaponry to the Ukrainian Air Forces, is perfecting logistics and the optimal coordination at the front. Russia planned to take Ukraine in 3 days. And in effect, Russia has already lost the declared war. Ukraine needs to finish it. And who of the two ministers of defense is the winner in this duel is an obvious answer, in my opinion.